Welcome back to my studio. A popular technique for painting loose is to use a painting knife. A lot of artists enjoy using a painting knife because it works quickly, they get a lot of thick paint on very fast, and you get a few surprising results as well, the happy accident. Now, I paint mostly with a brush, and loose brushwork technique is extremely important. However, I also enjoy painting with a painting knife now and then. Sometimes I just use a painting knife for special techniques. Maybe I need a hard edge, like on a roof line or something like that, or I want to put in thick impasto on perhaps a tree trunk that needs to be more precise. Occasionally though, I will do an entire painting, or virtually entire painting with a painting knife. Now, before we go into looking at some techniques on this, let's just have a look at a few painting knives. Now, this with the long blade is a proper palette knife. So you can see, quite flexible, and I use this for spreading on paint, or more particularly I use it for priming canvases or any other painting surface. So it's not really for painting, this is really for mixing paint on a palette, but more convenient for spreading on lots of material like gesso on a canvas. So that strictly palette knife, you can see straight. You can butter your toast with this as well. Not really. As far as painting knives are concerned, you're looking at more or less this sort of thing. Now, when purchasing a painting knife, try to avoid the plastic ones. I know they're tempting because they're very inexpensive. They might be useful perhaps if you're really not interested in giving them any special care and you just need to spread on lots of things, or maybe using it for other purposes, even for modeling clay, for instance. But painting knife, you want to get a steel painting knife. And my favorite one is the one with fairly long blade and a rounded tip. I avoid the little short ones that are very stiff blade. Why? Because there's no real give when you put down paint. Sometimes you need that flexibility for a softer touch, and the little ones tend to be very hard and kind of dig in, and not much versatility to them. Long blade, very flexible, rounded tip gives some flexibility as well in the shape of the mark that I'm making, almost like a filbert brush. The others have more sort of triangle or pointy end to it. This one a bit more pointed. I don't use it that much. This one broader base, rounded tip, quite flexible, also very nice to paint with this, and I use this one quite a lot for painting as well. So with these two, you can pretty much do any painting you want. Extremely versatile and very handy. Now, as far as painting technique is concerned with the knives, you can start a painting blank white canvas and just start going for it with your painting knife, and that's fine. It'll work. I do find a lot more effective results when I have something down already. You could start painting the broad shapes and composition with the brush. You could do it in acrylics even, let that dry, and then go over it and work in the let's say, more detailed or final layers with the painting knife. This is, I think, a really advantageous way to work. Because number one, you don't have to cover every inch of the canvas with the paint you're spreading on with the knife. The lower layers are working as well. You can get a beautiful scumbled effect as lower layers come through in certain areas. And it gives you direction. I find that with that bit of direction in the painting knife process, I can work quicker and with more confidence. I kind of know already what is needed. I sometimes have taken this approach where I've started a painting with brushes. Maybe it's getting a little too tight, or I'm just not feeling it, a little bored with what I'm doing, and I'll put the brushes down, get the painting knives, and just lay on thick juicy paint, nice bright contrast, nice value contrast, and the painting is transformed, and that turns out into a more satisfying and expressive painting result. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you more or less how this technique can work. Where I started off a painting with brushes, worked it in fairly loose with the brush stage, but then got into it with the palette knives as a layer over the paint, and much more exciting results, pleasing. You know, not every effect is planned, it happens, but those two layers work very well together. So try this. It's kind of a way to make the result a little bit more predictable, but without making it boring, and you're going to get a lot more satisfaction out of the painting knife process. Just a little word of caution. Sometimes if an entire painting is done with painting knives, it can in fact get a bit repetitive with a lot of hard-edged shapes. So don't forget about the brush. You can still use the brush to go in and soften a few edges here and there and leave the hard-edged stuff where you want more focus. It can end up looking like just a bunch of evenly tiled color shapes. Maybe it works, maybe it looks just a little touristy. There is a line to keep in mind. A palette knife doesn't mean you can forget about good painting technique, like manipulating edges, like using different color temperature, color as well. So just keep that in mind. One last tip with painting knife is try and work with more energy. It's not a process that I personally feel is for slow, long thinking over a few days. When I paint with a palette knife, my best results come when I work quickly. I might put on some music to generate more energy as well. Certainly standing on my feet and trying to work at a quick pace helps to translate that energy into the vibrant, thick paint shapes that a painting knife produces. So you can try that, see if it works for you as well.